Zero track record throughout all teams here with Deckard Cain, with Diablo, and with Urel. Urel in particular still standing strong and tall at the top of the rankings here when we're looking at the S-tier heroes. 73 wins, 38 losses, a 66% win rate for Urel. Absolutely unheard of given the sample size that we have on this hero. And I want to see who is able to draft her today and which kind of priority she gets from those teams.
Alex is starting to become a more traditional ban for Infernal Shrines. It was a traditional ban against Team Liquid for a little bit there, as they were starting to get a strong shrine control type of compositions for this battleground. They were really showcasing the most out of a lot of our teams here in Europe, so Leftovers sticking with that trend will ban her. Team Liquid answers back with a Genji ban.
Alex just offers too much. The healing that she offers on the map is really good, and then of course you have the Dragon Queen as another great tool, very similar to Tiger's Odin, that you can pop traditionally around 20 minion stacks that you have, and then you control the rest of the shrine phase. So a good ban for sure, and as you said, it's a ban that we're seeing more and more on this map. If not banned out, she is oftentimes picked very, very early in those drafts. Abathar taken away from Leftovers here. Liquid have shown a tendency to play Abathar on all maps, including Infernal Shrines. And there's Maiev being banned. And that leaves a lot of hot picks out there.
Yep. Maiev, traditional ban now, but one that Leftovers excel at. One that they really use to make it to the Western Clash. Diablo will be a first pickup for the Leftovers.
Already concerns me. Diablo on this map is absolutely fantastic, and we know how strong Mopsio is on this hero.
Yeah.
So strong that even outside of that combo with Urel and Deckard Cain, a lot of teams went into taking Diablo either away or banning him out. Liquid fails to do that here because they're worried about Maiev, and rightfully so, since Leftovers are very strong with that hero. But now we have, with the picks of Deckard Cain and Sergeant Hammer, also the option for Leftovers to go into Urel. If they don't think that they need a bit more wave clear and presence on the shrine and head over into Blaze, and Diablo Urel is making Mopsio nearly unkillable.
Yeah, and Mopsio is already unkillable before you even put Urel into there. I mean, Diablo and Geralt are the two heroes that I resonate with him as a main tank. He's able to force the issue for his team, and his team really comes online because of that. And there is that Urel. He pops out for the third pick, and there is Gul'dan coming out. Now, Team Liquid, as mentioned, has Deckard Cain and Sergeant Hammer. This is a pretty easy combo to pull off. You're able to set up and drop some of those potions. You build towards level 4, and they should be fine in that right. But the main issue is how do they deal with the main aggression coming their way from Leftovers?
There's another ban that really needs to be considered by Liquid now, and that is Phoenix. Phoenix has been picked up by Leftovers all the time. They actually are one of the teams that plays the most Phoenix of all. They have there's the ban. I like this a lot. 14 wins and 9 losses, a 61% win rate, which is fantastic considering that Leftovers are sitting at an average win rate of 50%. So that's a great hero for them. It's a go-to for DAB, especially after Tracer has started to fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
So great ban from Team Liquid. And again, it's the preparation that we see from Arcana coming through here. I don't quite agree with them letting Diablo through, but I love that they banned out Maiev and that they banned out Phoenix.
Leftovers with the ban on Junkrat. I was wondering if they were actually going to try and pick it up for themselves, but they don't want to allow for any more protection for Hammer. They're already going to have a hard issue of trying to jump on top of that target, even though they have Diablo and Urel. So having a trap to wither through will be a bit of a difficult situation for them. So they ban out the Junkrat. Looking over to Team Liquid now, we're looking for that main tank. What do you think would be the main tank for them? You think Geralt should be a pickup? No, they're actually going straight into a Nubarak and then Thrall.
Looks very much like we're going to see a triple melee start out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to a Nubarak and you immediately think about him being a bit squishy. That's something that yesterday actually. Last week, a lot of teams had to experience. You have Thrall in the mix with him, but very likely that we're going to see maybe Blaze being picked up here too. I would like that, a triple frontline with Blaze adding a bit more sustainability. And here come Hanzo for DAB and Whitemane as we round the draft out for Leftovers.
Strong. Good control around the shrine. If they can keep Hammer away from that area and try to slow her down, they should be able to put out enough healing and enough armor to be able to get through those shrine phases. Team Liquid, we'll see if they're going to go into that triple melee composition that we were talking about. Still looking for... Yep, Blaze. There he is.
All right, talked about Blaze. Would really like to have him here. The triple melee setup that we have for Liquid definitely adds a lot to the draft now. It gives him more sustainability. It keeps Nubarak a little bit safer when he starts going in. Difficult to break through, a bit more control through the CCs that he offers here too, and a lot of shrine control that they have with it. The Hammer pick was definitely a great one for them. love that absolutely. I think they can really play around that. The shot calling that we've seen from Eternal in the past on this map particular, around hammer compositions, either when they play them or when they face them, it's actually incredibly solid. So I like that draft. Still a bit worried about this Diablo and Urel combo that we see for leftovers. Not simply because it's strong as is, which is true, but because it's so strong when the leftovers play it.
Also because the damage behind it is phenomenal. You have Hanzo who's shelling away Scatterers like crazy. Gul'dan is going to destroy you, especially going into the late game. And even though Sergeant Hammer... Yeah, exactly. Even though Hammer is strong, Hammer's doesn't put out that amazing of a burst damage, right? Sure, you can get the Giant Killer and you get the BFG coming in there, but between Gul'dan and Hanzo, they should be able to out-damage pretty well. I'm actually quite terrified.
I mean, Liquid has played Hammer a few times, but not... I don't know, for some reason when I see Liquid and I see Sergeant Hammer in my head, it's always like, yeah, they've been really strong with the hero, and I feel that's still true, but their track record doesn't quite reflect it. They have 3 wins and 3 losses, so that leaves them at 50%. In my head, my perception is still, I would have expected them to be stronger than that with Hammer. So it feels to me like they usually play very well around it. Can that be the only or the main damage for them with that melee heavy setup here against the composition that Leftovers drafted? That's something to be seen. Both teams with a decent draft, but yes, Gul'dan is terrifying.
Yeah.
A lot of Shine Control true, and that front line is just, oh, so good.
Let's hop into it as game number 1 will begin. Team at Liquid on the left, Hostawab's playing Thrall, Eternal on Blaze, Sportbillion on a Nubrak, Arcana on Sergeant Hammer, and Nura to play Deckard Cain.
And going up against the Germans, we have to the right side, the Leftovers coming in hot here today with linked on Whitemane, Lee Kidney playing Hanzo, Woody Boss on Urel, we're seeing Mopsio on his Diablo, absolutely terrifying, and DAB actually now on Gul'dan for the 2nd time. So once on the hero last week. And this is going to be an important one, guys. Both of the teams still aiming for the number 2 spot. And if Leftovers today take down Team Liquid, then they still keep their hopes alive for a direct qualification spot for BlizzCon. Liquid is currently in the number 2 position, seemingly very safe there. But they are still going up against a couple of heavy hitters that could ruin their plans.
Already a combo coming out from Mopsio, looking to start that fight. One of our aggressive tanks here in the HGC. To the point where some may criticize him for it, but he's definitely found the balance between being aggressive and being able to walk away from a fight. And part of it is because of Link doing a fantastic job in the support role, making sure that he is there at all times for him. Now, with the draft coming in for the Leftovers, they have a really solid setup for finishing up this corruption stacks early, especially in what Team Liquid has picked up with multiple melees being there. There is going to be natural elements of this composition grouping up, and if DAB can land those corruption shots, he'll be able to finish that stack quick.
It's actually one of the reasons why I could absolutely see Team Liquid trying to not go for the first Punisher, instead play around it a bit to delay the stacking process of Gul'dan. It's because you're absolutely right. If you run a melee composition this heavily with 3 heroes at the front line, then Gul'dan naturally will be able to get a lot of those stacks going. So far, Liquid is avoiding fights, and they should do that, I feel. And I could see that translate over into the first Shrine phase when you simply say, okay, this one doesn't scale too hard yet. If we just simply get experience on the lanes, we can offset the value that Leftovers get through the first objective, and we deny a lot of the stacks to Gul'dan.
Arcana even peeling back in the bottom lane. Only a Nubrak the one extending. A Nubrak actually finding some attention in the middle of the map here as Mopsio attempts some damage on him. Thrall in the middle lane actually has Blaze rotating up a Potty Boss there right away to keeping full tabs on where Eternal is, and something that's going to have to do throughout the entire game.
Yeah, Mopsio is just shocking around the entire time, as you would expect. Like, he is fantastic on the hero. Leftovers in regular league play have played Diablo 14 times, 8 wins and 6 losses. But one of the events where Mopsio definitely showcased again how powerful he is with that hero was also the Western Clash.
Yeah.
Where, of course, he added a lot of wins and forced a lot of targeted bans against Diablo here. And he's doing better and better with his team as a shot caller. Also with the experience from the Western Clash, this team is just really coming together.
And it is time for Sergeant Hammer to start unlocking her potential powers. Siege Tactics comes on level 4, as well as Potions of Shielding for our Deckard Cain. This combination then makes it very difficult to take Hammer out, as she is hard to chase down.
Yeah, Hammer is in a position right now where a lot of people make arguments that she's a bit too strong or a bit too dominant and oppressive. And especially from a balance perspective, it's a very interesting hero. One of the things that could really be adjusted here is the level 4 talent, which gives her so much survivability through those unstoppable frames with siege tactics. Getting that on that low cooldown as is and this early in the game is something that could definitely be addressed in the future. So we'll have to wait if that's something that Blizzard is concerned about or not. But for the time being, Hammer is a very, very powerful tool. And if you look at the minimap, this is exactly what I talked about earlier. Liquid not willing to give Gul'dan stacks. They're just saying, you know what? First objective, screwed, we don't need that.
Attempting to push in with this camp here on the top. Boss is going to clear that up. And he does. But now his job is just to soak up this experience. There's even 3 people here also, obviously, now going for an aggressive push too. But they bring Muketni up. Leftovers are answering back in kind.
Yeah, Liquid has to do something. And when I say something, I mean they need to take some of the structures down just to make sure that they get a slight lead in experience so that they can offset the value that leftovers will be granted through the Arcane Punisher. Because the problem for Liquid is it's not only a Punisher, it's an Arcane Punisher to boot.
Yeah.
Adds a little bit more pushing power, but at least they denied a lot of stacks to DAB, and that's definitely a concern. If you have a Gul'dan that all of a sudden, through brawling on the first objective, is able to complete this level 1 quest on the second objective already, then you are in trouble in the later stages of the game. But this way, they keep DAB's power spike a little bit farther away.
I haven't seen anything too impressive from Team Liquid in terms of breaking down structures, but I do enjoy the responses. Having Sergeant Hammer run the top after the Punisher, Shrine was grabbed by Leftovers, allowed him to try and put some turret damage there. Leftovers did respond in an appropriate manner, but Arcaner rotated all the way down to the bottom, so they got the defense set up with the Siege Tank, of course. It's just not having any additional range and going full heavy on this melee type of compositions can give you some issues with objectives. So that means the Hammer in particular has to be on point with her movement.
If you try and play a triple melee composition, you need to commit when you go for a fight.
Yeah.
You can't play a poke battle, and that's important. Billy barely getting out after Mopsio already homed into him and tried to take him down. But coming back to the point, any kind of melee-heavy composition needs to commit when they engage. You can't just simply stay in a poke battle and thinking they're going to get away with it. The longer the fight lasts and you're not just hitting the button and saying, okay, it's time to go, the worse it's going to get for you, because your opponent just pokes away against you. But here comes the attempt to go for Mopsio, but small chance of that happening. The 91 stacks and Soul's Mopsio is already looking pretty terrifying.
I think, a little bit more onto your point. Hang on, keep an eye on Mopsio, because he's going a little bit further than I thought he would. Okay, turret goes down. Adding on top of that, with this melee and this commitment that you're talking about and how you have to be able to force those fights, you also have to make sure that you are near an experience. You don't want to give your opponents a stat advantage if you have to fully commit to a team fight, because it makes it that much more rougher for you. That's why you see Team Liquid attempting to make sure to always be near Leftovers when it comes to experience and the objective.
I'm really wondering how exactly Liquid is going to take down Mopsio before they have Giant Killer and the Alpha Wolf on Thrall. I feel it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to make that happen. Once the 16 talent is in play, then they might have a better chance here. And I think this is one of the reasons why they're trying to slow down the game a little bit, so it works out for them. Hazob's also completed his own Echo of Elements very late in the game. 5 minutes and 30 seconds is 3 minutes later than what we oftentimes see. But considering the playstyle that we have and their attempt to not go into too many fights, it hasn't really a consequence for them.
Yeah.
So it was no problem for him to take it a bit easier on the attempt to stack or to complete the stacking process.
Well, 10s are about to connect for our teams. Dragon's Arrow, Lightning Breath, Ardent Defender, Horrify. Whitemane has yet to pick hers up. Could see a world where you move into that Aegis, especially with the dive coming your way. Could be trying to figure out what exactly Thrall's going to pick up first. If it's Sundering, you want to make sure you have that armor. Yeah,
Thrall is a hero that Liquid absolutely loves, and a lot of that comes from them really paying attention to the Korean meta and realizing that Korea highlights Thrall a lot. And Korea is also going into a lot of Sundering depending on the composition, but it's highly a question of what are you trying to achieve. Do you need to go for a flank into the backline, or are you trying to go and use Earthquake as a tool on the Shrine itself? And Liquid make the choice to go into Earthquake here. No real need for Sundering in this setup, and also very unlikely for Thrall to get a proper flank onto what's happening.
Divine Reckoning will be the pick for Whitemane, looking for a little bit more damage. Being able to help out the healing. This will be pretty solid on top of Diablo. If he can find a Lightning Breath to hit multiple members, he dropped down that Zeal and then follow up with the Divine Reckoning, and he is going to be impossible to kill.
Great stacks here now for Gul'dan. 21 already for the mage. Here comes the arrow. They're trying to go in. Boss immediately jumps after and forces the bunker. But Mopsio did not hop an ult just yet. Lornado comes in. Mopsio a bit low. Link definitely needs to help him out here, and that's exactly what happens. But we're still having both of the teams chucking around the Shrine.
Playing slow, Mopsio's down to half HP, Web is still available, there it is. Fort Billy steps forward, gets down the cocoon, DAB clears it up with a Drain Light. Full combo on top of Diablo, but he's able to survive.
Diablo, no problem, survives through that. Here comes the fear, they're not going for Blaze, and that they still get him. Actually split in the engage, only 2 heroes attacking Blaze, but it was enough to take him down. Mopsio pushed them back, Hammer eliminated the double kill for Leftovers. Great move by them, but also a bit iffy for a second here. After Blaze gets horrified, only 2 heroes attack him. That could have been an easier collapse on him, but they split the attention, and they actually get rewarded for the risk. They take down 2 heroes instead of only 1.
Getting 2 picks, and Leftovers will also grab the Punisher, push him with the fort in the middle. And the big news, too, is they jump up in experience. Remember that 13 is about to connect, but also because Team Liquid is running this massive melee composition, if they get pinned into a corner where Sergeant Hammer can't move up with those melees to help out, they are going to start to feel the burn in the late game. So Leftovers earning a massive achievement with that win.
Yeah, great move here from Leftovers so far. And again, a lot of the attention drawn to Diablo, and Mopsio just understanding perfectly well how deep he can go. Whitemane linked also in the background the entire time, keeping him alive, making sure that there is no way for him to actually fall here. And Leftovers are taking that lead. More than a level ahead right now, the level 13 talent advantage that they have in their hands. And this is making things difficult. But I want to stress again that Liquid has a great power spike on level 16 when it comes to threatening Diablo through the potential Alpha Wolf on Thrall, and also, in particular, the Giant Killer that we're going to see from Sergeant Hammer.
At that point, you can change your priority with a new Brack. Maybe instead of going for the Cocoon on Diablo like we saw in the last fight, you can try to land on Gul'dan. Whitemane even to stop the healing so you can focus down Diablo. Leftovers, for now, though, still have a 2-level lead of their opponents, a talent advantage, and they're using it to open up the map. Turrets to the top get cleared up. Fort has some damage too. Corruption stacks are starting to come on in. 31 of the 40 needed. You really want to try and finish that up before you hit 16 with that Ruinous Affliction.
I mean, talking about the stacking process, Gul'dan is not the only one that is about to complete his level 1 quest. 18 stacks on Sportili with his Regeneration Master on 119 now, so he's really trying to complete that as well. It's going to make him a bit more sustainable in all of these fights. But the situation is definitely in Leftovers' favor. There is a lot of tools that they have whenever Liquid starts to go for the engage. If that Cocoon doesn't hit Diablo, then you still have Gul'dan available, you have Urel to create some space, and also Whitemane for the heals. If you target anyone else, then there's still a Horrifier that you can use to maybe just push the opponent away long enough so that you survive through the initial attack.
For now, both teams kind of waiting on this shrine here, but with Thrall showing in the bottom lane, that indicates the Leftovers that can make a play for that fort still.
Yeah. I'm honestly worried for Liquid. I think once 16 hits, we might see them with more chances to win a fight and threaten the front line. But up to that point, I think it's extremely dangerous for them and nearly impossible to get kills here. They're trying. They're throwing everything on Mopsio, and that might just be enough. But Mopsio moves out again, and just kidding, even with the Cocoon on Whitemane and them really unloading everything except for the Thundering onto Diablo, they cannot get that kill. Mopsio dashes out with a Shadow Charge, gets his self-sustain in, they kill the web, and then Whitemane says like, I got you, bro.
Didn't even have to use Divine Reckoning. Not a single heroic is used by the Leftovers.
Yeah.
Whereas 3 was used for Team Liquid. Lornano will be back soon. And that was an opportunity that Team Liquid was going for, and Diablo just able to charge out thanks to Soul D and up, and Whitemane just provided enough heals.
I mean, nothing highlights the point that we're trying to make better than the attack that we just saw.
Yeah.
They really tried to go for Diablo and isolate him, and I think if you have Alpha Wolf on 16, if you have Giant Killer, your chances of eliminating the Lord of Terror are actually there. But right now, Leftovers are absolutely dominating. Again, the rotation to the top, taking down the fort here, and already preparing for the shrine itself. They're even pushing the agenda a little bit farther forward to already drop the wall here. Leftovers, they know that 16 is going to become a bit more difficult for them. Not impossible, but more difficult. So they're trying to get the most out of this mid-game here by eliminating parts of the wall, preparing for the Punisher attack so that they can take down the keep.
Take down the keep, and maybe you can go for a core wave if they can get a pick.
Yeah.
Leftovers will have a full opening here. Ooh, actually, straight in the middle. We have Fort Billy coming in there, getting a Cocoon on top of Mopsio. But again, Houdini is actually Mopsio. Shadow charging away from the fight, running straight to its turrets. Didn't even need his teammates' help, who rotated down to help him out.
He also doesn't go full into the Firestomp here. We have him on level 13 with a devastating charge. He has 1 stack on that, and then Domination on level 16 taking 2. is helping him actually be a little bit more mobile in a lot of these instances. So whenever Team Liquid is trying to go for him, he has a few tools available where he can either push someone around or he can just simply charge a minion to get out of the fight like we saw in the earlier approach by Liquid.
And it's also really easy to get that charge too with overpower. Again, playing against multiple melees. There's going to be somebody in range of you so you can get that extra shadow charge to escape.
Also, now Gul'dan on 36 stacks. He needs 4 more and we have Ruinous Affliction on level 16. So the damage output that we see from DAB is absolutely fantastic right now.
No 16 for Team Liquid yet, but they have to deal with the onslaught of leftovers as they push in the top lane and come straight for the keep. Tornado gets used and Earthquake. Team Liquid is putting everything out. They realize how important destroying this Punisher is.
They go for the arrow. Here comes immediately the ult on Diablo too. They're going for the keep. They're going to leave it at that. But that's a great win here for them already. And just to put also the damage numbers a bit in perspective, one stat that we don't really talk about because in a lot of instances it doesn't really matter too much, it doesn't really reflect the way of the game, is damage taken. But let's take a quick look at the numbers of damage taken on the side of Diablo and what we're seeing on the front line for the opponent. Diablo has so far 43,000 damage taken. Just in a comparison, Urel is sitting at 17k. 43,000 for Diablo, and Nubarak on the other side has 27,000 taken. So there's a massive difference. A lot of the damage that we see from Team Liquid is unloaded onto Diablo because it's so difficult for him to get past him. Even when they cocoon him, he oftentimes just get burnt here. And again, Mopsio is just sitting there, taking all the damage. Here comes the Lonator again. That's actually a good attempt. Could work out, but nope. White lane is ready. Mopsio just ate another 10,000 damage. And they survive through it.
Oh, but he gets picked with the BFG on the back line. He will have his souls reset. Bulky Diablo finally gets taken out.
Cast a curse.
Of course.
The second he seems safe, Arcana sneaks in from the side and gets the flank BFG to drop him. Yeah, Mopsio didn't see that coming. Neither did I.
Big win, though, for Team Liquid there. Having Diablo reset there. You've already seen how much they've been trying to focus him on the front line. He's gone down to about a quarter, half health each time. This time, with him having less souls available to him, it should be easier to burn him.
Yeah, that's going to be important. Now that you don't have any souls and you have level 16, all of a sudden we're talking about a bit of a different game. That 16 talent that we pointed out earlier is super crucial. But look at how mobile he is. He might fall here, but he got so much value and they get a counter kill thanks to that. The Nubarak goes down. The question is, how does the rest of the fight run? Urel is still holding the front line here, and there's a lot of damage coming out of Lee Kidney. They can't take the camp, but they nearly take down Hazops, and they are still looking at Eternal.
Looking at him here. See if they can maybe get the jump. Ooh, a bit of an interesting jump there from Potty Boss, not getting straight on top of Eternal. This is going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and Nubarak falls Diablo 2.
Now, the last fight has shown us a couple of things. First of all, one of the things we talked about earlier was the level 16 talent. Alpha Wolf is there for Thrall, you have Giant Killer for Sergeant Hammer. That threatens Diablo a lot. With the souls resets before that fight started, it meant that it was a very weak Diablo running into opponents that I know a lot more dangerous to him. But even with that, he was still able to create so much confusion and body everybody around that they could go for that counter kill against the Nubarak. And I mean, when I'm talking about these 16 talents, I also want to highlight another one that we haven't even spoken about, but it's also very powerful against Diablo. And that's Thrall level 7. The Ancestral Wrath is another great tool here if you just try and nuke him down a little bit harder.
Yep, able to get the heals too, allowing Thrall to work in those auto attacks to make sure to punish with that Alpha Wolf face running moving forward.
The Ancestral Wrath is actually damaging you depending on how much max HP you have. So it's a great tool against a high hit point tank.
Good against Blaze, good against Diablo, to Hana degree as well. Always go in that front line, try to burn them quickly. Now, I mean, we will have the Shrine Spot here on the south, and it's going to be an Arcane Punisher.
Yeah, and look at experience.
Almost 20 for leftovers. So freaking close. Hang on, Black Kidney, though, gets caught out. Team Liquid knows they have to make a play, and they find one.
Absolutely loving the play of Team Liquid here, but they lose Thrall. Liquid with a great engage, and that was a fantastic one. You can actually make a very good argument that leftovers were too aggressive there, not waiting for level 20 before they engage. Liquid knows what's happening, and they make a snap decision to go for that backline. They get the kill. The big problem for them, of course, they lose Thrall in the process, and that was a great choice here by leftovers to turn around against him. They already have 30 stacks. Leftovers, DAB attacked as we're seeing Team Liquid diving in deep. The Tornado comes in, but Mopsio again in that backline. It's just destroying everything as DAB uses the newfound space to unleash one Fel Flame after another and drop the Royal Affliction.
Drain life and Zeal's keeping them alive, and Leftovers, they're not under any pressure to go finish the Shrine. They can tap up, they can wait for everyone to respawn here. They're going to have Hanzo in about 5 seconds. They have Catapult pushing in the top lane, and they already have a lead on the Shrine with a 30-11.
I also think I just created a new talent. We have Royal Affliction now for Gul'dan. It's a bit of a mix with Leoric. It's actually terrifying. Gul'dan mixed with Leoric, that sounds like a brutal hero.
Royal Affliction.
Definitely OP.
It's got a good ring to it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, 20 here for the Leftovers. And they're about to ring out that bottom lane as they start to rotate in. You already have Diablo and Yrel pushing in the middle lane. A full level behind Team Liquid is. They have to have a miracle defense. The good news for them is at least they have a turret so they can bounce this Punisher over. Just kidding. Leftovers destroy said turret and the sidewall.
If you complete the Echoed Wraith and the Royal Affliction, then you're nearly unbeatable.
Unstoppable.
Great talent.
Absolute legend. That's
Also, legend is what Leftovers is pulling off in this first game right now. 4 kills against 3, but they are absolutely... It's not the kills, it's really just them running the game here. Diablo is so powerful here, but it's the damage dealers that are now just delivering kill after kill. Whitemane even with their kill against Hammer here. 2 down on Liquid side. The keep is about to fall, and not only that, they're going for the core. Mopsio again going in deep, trying to drop Hazo Ops, and oh my god! DAB, you monster! Goes in again, and with a perfect setup here, takes down the War Chief. Finally know who the stronger Orc is, but yeah, that was brutal. Team Liquid taken apart in game number 1 by the Leftovers.
Leftovers go up 1-0.